The rain fell in soft sheets, blurring the bright lights of Manhattan as they reflected off the wet streets. Nathaniel Blake sat silently in the back seat of his sleek black SUV, shielded from the cold world outside by tinted windows and leather upholstery. His driver idled near a food bank while Nathaniel scrolled aimlessly through emails he had no interest in reading. His company had just closed a multi-million-dollar deal. He should have felt triumphant. Instead, he felt nothing. Then, something outside caught his eye. Across the street, hunched beneath the awning of a closed deli, sat a young woman. Her clothes were ragged and soaked through. Her shoes didn't match. But her hands, delicate and focused, moved across a small, worn sketchbook with surprising grace. She was drawing. In the rain. Nathaniel leaned forward, intrigued. She wasn't begging. She wasn't shivering or complaining. Her face wore a soft calm, almost as if the storm around her didn't exist. As if sensing his gaze, she looked up. Their eyes met through the misty window. She gave him a small, genuine smile. Not the kind that asked for anything. It was kind, peaceful, real. Nathaniel felt something stir in his chest, a feeling he hadn't known in years. Before he could react, the traffic light turned green. The car pulled away. But her image stayed with him, like a sketch burned into the paper of his mind. And in that quiet moment, something in him shifted. 2 days later, Nathaniel found himself walking through Central Park, not for a meeting or a fitness goal, but searching. He wasn't even sure for what, until he saw her. She was sitting on a bench beneath a willow tree, sketchbook balanced on her knees, drawing a child chasing pigeons near the fountain. Her hair was pulled back with a pencil. Same tattered jacket. Same unmatched shoes. And that same stillness in her eyes. Nathaniel hesitated, then slowly approached. "You're really talented," he said gently. She looked up, smiling. "Thank you. Most people don't notice." He sat down, unsure why. He, who usually scheduled phone calls to avoid unplanned conversations. But she didn't make him feel judged. Just, seen. "I'm Nathaniel." "Lila," she replied. They talked, about art, the way the city changed with the seasons, how people often stopped seeing beauty once life got too busy. She told him she'd studied art at NYU once, but had to drop out after her mother got sick. The bills came fast. Then the eviction. Then, this. He offered her money, a hotel room. She refused, not angrily, just kindly. "I'm not your charity project," she said, then softened. "But I'd take a coffee. No foam, 2 sugars." They met again the next day. And the next. She brought sketches. He brought silence. Somewhere in the middle, they shared pieces of themselves they hadn't shown anyone in years. Nathaniel, the man who had everything, found himself drawn to this woman who had nothing. But somehow lived with more light than he'd ever known. And though he didn't say it out loud, he was falling for her. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. The bench was empty. Nathaniel stood still, coffee in hand, heart quietly sinking as the wind rustled the pages of a stray newspaper at his feet. He looked around, the fountain, the willow tree, the path where she usually walked in from. But no Lila. He waited for an hour. Then another. No call. No message. Just, nothing. The next morning, he returned again. And again the day after. The bench remained cold, her absence echoing louder than any silence he'd ever known. He checked the shelters she had once mentioned in passing. He asked around. No one had seen her. It was as if she had vanished into the very mist she first appeared from. For weeks, her memory haunted him. He found himself sketching her face on napkins during board meetings. He stopped attending parties. The joy she'd awakened now sat hollow in his chest. But slowly, something shifted. He remembered her words. People just want to be seen, not saved. So, he started with what he could do. He funded art workshops at shelters. Hired displaced youth. Converted one of his company's empty buildings into a creative space with canvases, supplies, and warmth. He named it Sketch Hope. Every wall of the studio echoed with Lila's spirit. Every smile reminded him of her light. And though the world saw this as a philanthropic initiative, to him it was something else entirely. A love letter to a girl who taught him how to feel. A way to keep searching, without searching. He had no idea if she was alive, if she was safe. But in some quiet corner of his heart, he believed she'd find her way back. Because people like Lila don't disappear. They return when the world's ready to see them again. 1 year later. The Sketch Hope gallery buzzed with soft music and quiet awe. The launch night had drawn an eclectic mix of guests. Corporate leaders, artists, social workers, and former homeless youth now displaying their first works of art on polished white walls. Nathaniel walked slowly through the space, hands in his pockets, taking it all in. Faces once forgotten by society now shone with pride as their stories were told through color and canvas. But then, he froze. At the far end of the gallery hung a painting unlike the others. Watercolor. Soft edges. Gentle strokes. It was of him, sitting inside his car, looking out with hollow eyes. His tie slightly loosened, the glow of the rain-covered window reflecting his face. It was the day, the first moment he saw her. His heart thudded in his chest. Only she could have painted that. He turned, scanning the room with sudden urgency. And then. She stepped into view. Lila. Hair longer, face fuller, eyes still gentle, but stronger now. She wore a simple dress, no makeup, just the same quiet grace that had once stopped time. Nathaniel didn't move. Couldn't speak. She smiled, her eyes glassy. Hi. He blinked, emotions crashing through him like a wave. Where did you go? I needed to find myself again, she said. I went into a recovery center upstate. Got clean. Got therapy. Found a small studio to paint in. I promised myself I'd come back when I could stand beside you, not behind you. Nathaniel's voice cracked. I looked for you everywhere. She touched the edge of his jacket. You didn't have to. You gave me a reason to come back. Tears welled in his eyes. She didn't just return, she rose. And in that moment, in the middle of a gallery filled with stories of hope, he realized. The most beautiful masterpiece had just walked back into his life. Later that night, the city lights shimmered like stars below the rooftop terrace of the gallery. The noise of the crowd had faded, but Nathaniel and Lila remained, standing side by side, quietly watching the skyline. A gentle breeze brushed past them, carrying the scent of rain and something else, possibility. Nathaniel turned to her. You look happy. Lila smiled, her eyes soft. I am. For the first time in a long time, I don't feel invisible. He nodded, his voice low. You never were. Not to me. They sat on a wooden bench near the edge, legs swinging like kids, the silence between them now full and comforting. Below them, the Sketch Hope gallery glowed through its tall windows, full of laughter, art, and second chances. I've seen so much ugliness, she said after a pause. But tonight, it reminded me that beauty still wins. He looked at her, his eyes wet but shining. You reminded me what it means to live. Before you, I had everything money could buy, but I didn't feel alive. You showed me how to see again. She chuckled. Funny. You saved me without trying to fix me. That's rare. They turned to face each other fully. No grand speeches. No sudden declarations. Just truth between two souls who had walked through darkness and found light, in each other. What now? She asked softly. Nathaniel smiled. Whatever you want. Paint. Travel. Teach. Or just, be. Lila looked out at the city and took a deep breath. Then let's build something. Not from wealth, but from worth. From kindness. Let's give others what we were given, a chance. He reached for her hand. She didn't hesitate. As they sat under the stars, two broken people now whole, the world below kept rushing by. But up here, time slowed down.